Hi, brother. Troy, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, man. Thanks for having me at the pad. This place is awesome.
Thank you, dude. Yeah, no, I've been looking forward to meeting you. Emily told me about you and checked out your Instagram, and I'm stoked we finally did this actually. Where are you from?
So I grew up in Westchester,
Yeah.
in a town called Briarcliff, and yeah, Westchester was awesome. We used to call it, or Briarcliff was awesome. We used to call it Fantasyland just because we were just running around house party to house party and just having a lot of fun as young kids. So
Yeah.
a lot of fun.
Awesome. So, what is it that you do? Can you like let everyone know like what it is that you do?
Yeah, do a couple of things. I work in NBA entertainment, content creator. I'm an actor and a TV host. The in-stadium host for New York City Football Club, which is the team that is owned by Manchester City. They play in Yankee Stadium, so the Yankees own 20% and Man City owns the other 80%. So I'm the in-stadium host there. So pre-craziness of the world, if you came to Yankee Stadium for a New York City Football Club game, I would be on the mic on the big screen at Yankee Stadium speaking to the fans. And yeah, man, just, an investor in a few projects, and now working on a Broadway script with my brother. So we're looking forward to getting that. Hopefully, I don't know, maybe February, get Act 2 on its feet. We already got Act 1 on its feet. It's called
Cool.
Starting Up. So we're both super excited about that, to come together and work on something serious.
That's awesome. Is he older, younger?
My brother's older. He's 5.5 years older. Cool story about him. He did all Southeast Asia for a year and a half, and he always had this knack for writing and super creative ideas. Guess it runs in the family. But no, he just came back with this script, and it's hilarious. It's kind of that in-your-face humor. I don't know if you've heard of Book of Mormon on Broadway, but kind of like the South Park guys,
Yeah.
singing about, kind of these wants and needs of, like in our show, we sing about having a bigger DICK. And it's just about, a startup company and the struggles. And I think it's going to be super relatable for people to that office vibe, to that office culture. And what you're signing up for when you come to the theater.
Right.
It's almost like going to a comedy show with musicalness behind it in a
Right.
Broadway setting. So I'm super excited about it. We got a lot of work to do, but I'm excited.
That sounds awesome. No, I think anything you can do with your brother or family, everyone always says, working with family is tough, but it doesn't always have to be. It's really cool when you have synergy with your brother, and you can do projects like that. I think that's really
you were
rad.
telling me about your brother.
Yeah, we've done so much together. I mean, we are a pretty epic team.
Love that.
When we do things, and we've always been best friends first, which has been I feel so thankful for, because I meet a lot of people and they're like, they're not friends with their brother or they're somebody in their family, and it's such a drag.
It's a crime. Yeah. It hurts.
It sucks. So no, I feel really thankful for that. And he's gone back to Montana and he's doing his thing back there and enjoying Montana for what it is. We grew up at next to Glacier National Park, and it's just beautiful. So going back there for him, I think has been really rad. And he's just riding dirt bikes and working and enjoying what it is to be in Montana. So, but yeah, I can relate to that. Like working with the brother and doing like the thing.
I love
awesome.
that you said that, man, about your brother being your best friend, because my brother's my best friend. Also have a sister. She's my best friend. The family unit is extremely tight. So I love that you said that from all angles. That's awesome.
That's a huge blessing for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's likewise with our little sister. It's like we're super close with her too. And but yeah, it's interesting. I'm the older brother and he's the younger brother. So it's like interesting to talk to a younger brother as well, because it's like we all have like our dynamics and our things. It's kind of silly how we all work.
Mm-hmm.
But no, so that's awesome, man. Yeah, so I guess touching on like content creating, I was like looking at your Instagram. I saw some of your travels that you had gone on, as well as like all the hilarity. There's some hilarious
Appreciate
skits.
that, man.
I told you before I saw the Valentine's Day one, I was dying laughing. But yeah, no. What is your Instagram, by the way?
It's at Troy Press, just my name, TroyPress, like you press a button. Yeah, Troy Press.
So those of you guys out there, you should go follow him on Instagram, Troy Press. Really, really funny stuff. And I like that you mix up a little bit of everything that you do. So it's not just like,
I appreciate
it's
that.
not just all that.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think with Instagram, it used to be this platform of like, look who I am, look what I can do. So, to me, you know, like, great, you can brag that you have a nice car or whatever.
Yeah.
And there's always room for that here and there in your hard work.
Little flex.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with a little flex. I'm sure it helps everybody with the chicks too, or vice versa with the men. But to me, it's a big weapon, and how you use Instagram is huge. But for me, I love making people laugh and like getting their DMs and their comments of just like, dude, this was the funniest thing. You made my day with this. Like, I can't wait for the next one.
Yeah.
To know that, like, you know, an idea, I usually never write things down or like, you know, put too much thought into it. Like, once I feel that spark or that energy, it's like, no, this is going to be funny.
Yeah.
So, you know, even what we did earlier today, you know, guys, stay tuned for that one.
Yeah, totally.
And Emily and I worked on another project earlier in the week. So always have it just make people laugh, man. They need it more now more than ever.
For sure. I mean, it's been obviously the obvious, and I think this is going to be something I talk on every podcast about, is the current times. Where were you during quarantine?
I was in the city once it first hit, and once, you know, my whole line of work just got frozen, I came out to West Hampton for my buddy's house, and was just thinking it was going to be a long weekend, and that turned into
that's my dog in the background.
She's the cutest ever too.
She's probably like 40 feet away. These mics are actually way too good for that.
Wow.
Or maybe she's right outside the door.
Get her in here and snuggle a bit. But yeah, and then we hit West Hampton Beach, and it was me, my buddy, and his dad.
Can you grab her, maybe, Emily? You just let her outside.
And we had such a great time.
No, outside. Yeah, she's...
Hey, beautiful, come here. We just had the real star just join the chat right now.
Yeah, she's crashing. She just had to check out what the deal was. Oh, yeah. Oh, we're not going down without a fight. Oh, yeah.
live action. Oh, right here.
We got real live action.
Now she's outside.
Life on the farm. That's awesome. So, where were we?
Yes, I was in West Hampton.
Okay.
Beach, and we were just living. It was me, my buddy, my other buddy who lives out here in Sag Harbor, and my buddy's dad, and we were just doing it up, throwing the football on the beach walks, watching movies, making fires, making the most of it, you know, looking out for each other. And then once it hit like 40 days, he kind of was just like, you guys got to get out.
Yeah.
Like,
no way.
It's been too much. Yeah. So,
but even at 40 days, it wasn't really sure where to be. Because...
No. And I'm not gonna lie, like it when he said that, I was like a little bit, you know, like my anxiety definitely kicked up a notch.
You're like,
I was like,
where am I going to go?
Yeah. I was like, I really don't want to go back to the city right now. And you know, you don't want to be around the parents just with everything going on. And so, yeah, Tyler was nice enough that I moved in SAG in like second week of April, and I pretty much haven't left. I mean, I've gone back to the city like maybe 5 or 6 times for like a film project or check out on the apartment. But yeah, Hamptons since March, and now we're September like 12th. Yeah, because yesterday was the 11th.
Yeah.
It's been awesome, man. I got to meet amazing people like you and Emily, and a lot of just dope people. And just, you know, I grew up in the suburbs, and this is just kind of the suburbs with an ocean and bays and all that. So to just kind of reconnect to the roots and the trees and take off your shoes and get the earthing in and
totally
get back into the mix and ride some, you know, we were talking earlier when we were on the dirt bikes. I bought a little Johnny Peg mini and bought it from like $250 from the neighbor and just like been whipping that around.
Yeah.
So just these stories that you can hold on to.
For sure.
Yes, scary time, but it is what you make it. And to me, it's been a special time. How about you?
It's the same thing. I mean, I've been out here in the Hamptons. The Hamptons is definitely a great place to be for this moment. But yeah, I mean, it was interesting. I mean, I've always kind of thought about like if something was going to go down on the island, you're stuck on the island, you know?
Yeah.
That's part of the reason why I got into flying, honestly, because I was like, I don't want to be stuck on the island.
Wow.
And then so when this started to kind of happen, I literally was thinking like, I kind of had like a flight mode where I was like, yo, I'm about to dip out. But I didn't. I just kind of like settled in, just kind of neutralized. And I just like took the time to like do the things that I had been saying I needed time for, which wasn't true. I'm just kind of bad at time management, to be honest.
Same.
And so, I was finally just forced with enough boredom that I finally just bulldozed through some of the things. I started a couple of new clothing lines, and
Dope.
so that's been fun to like be working on some creative stuff like that. Emily and I did a bunch of creative projects and editing and so on, just all the things that I wasn't doing before.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, it was okay.
Congrats on that, man.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
I feel
that
super
alone,
blessed for that.
Yeah, just running through things that you wanted to do and having the time to, could sit put and do it. That takes.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's a lot of people that talk about it and think about it, but even during this quarantine, if you didn't do a few things to grow within yourself, then it's probably not.
Yeah,
There's probably not that great.
Yeah, and I feel for that, because even when you're faced with the thing, it's still a bulldoze to get through. To be like, all right, I'm going to start another business. I'm going to start another entity. I'm going to start another thing. I'm going to embark on this other situation, and to believe in yourself and all these different things. It's, I think a lot of people struggle with that. So I feel super blessed to be kind of just pushing on through the situations, and maybe I'm delirious. I don't know, but regardless, it seems to be keeping me occupied. And, I didn't really necessarily do the workout thing that everybody did. I didn't really engage in a bunch of breath work, and, but I feel like I'm rather mindful, and I've been talking to a lot of people. I mentioned this last time, but I talked to this jewelry designer who, he was in business for 50 plus years of business. And as a business owner now, I'm looking at that like, wow, like that almost doesn't even compute. 50 years of this one business. He's selling jewelry. He sold to Jennifer Lopez and all these different people, and just closed up shop. Had to sell his house in the Hamptons, his apartment in the city, total downscale.
Wow.
Going through all of his things and selling all of his stuff. It's terrible.
Yeah.
And so I really feel for people like that. That's really gnarly. But yeah, I guess, being out here.
Where were you thinking of flying? I know we all had our thoughts.
Glad you asked.
We all had our thoughts.
Yeah.
Like, all right, it's now April or May, and like the weather's still kind of crap.
Yeah.
Like, where should I go? Where were you thinking of going?
I was thinking of going back to Montana, honestly. Just because I've got family there, and I thought it might be a good moment to like just be around them again in adult life. I think we are rarely given that opportunity. I've heard a lot of people complain about having to go live back at home. I'm like, dude, that's such a blessing that like you have a home to go back to, for one, and you have a family that's accepting for you to come back to it. And that's so much more than what a lot of people have. I think it was a real opportunity for people to like get close again, and also get on each other's nerves. I'm sure as well. So like, and then remember,
great
like,
perspective on that for sure.
It's just, I've heard a lot of people talking about that, like, oh, I'm living at my mom's. Like, it's almost like something to be embarrassed about. I'm like, dude, that's amazing.
Yeah.
You're gonna remember these times.
When else are you gonna have that time to do it?
You fall out of the nest. You chase something,
and you never come back.
That's
usually
real or not real, and then eventually you kind of like you try to come back, and you realize you have this whole gap of time that just is what it is.
Yeah.
But for me, I think it's really important to get back, and like you said, family unit, I think is humongous. So yeah, no, I didn't get to go back and see family, but I am planning to go see my mom next week in Arizona. Actually, we're gonna I'll fly into Scottsdale and go have like a little weekend in the desert. So that'll be
That's
fun.
awesome.
Yeah.
That's somewhere on the map that I need to get down there. I've heard awesome things, and weather and good time. And
yeah.
So
people sleep on Arizona a little bit.
Yeah.
The desert is really beautiful. Sedona is pretty awesome. There's little hidden gems everywhere to go in Arizona. And, it's like everyone just thinks, Phoenix, it's super hot. And of course it is, but it's very lush in the desert as well. There's so much wildlife and so much, there's such a diversity of plants and things that it just, you just stop for a second and look around, and there's shades of green. Like there's like this lichen on rocks that's like this green that's like the shade of this. It's like, how is this? It looks like it's all brown out here, but it's like there's like a full spectrum of color in the desert. It's mental, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I need to do a better job of exploring our country, because definitely not something that I've done too much of. I've been to a lot of countries, but not in the States.
Yeah.
I went to school in North Carolina. So just kind of doing that drive every year, New York to North Carolina. And, you know, I've obviously been to Florida a few times. I have family down there, and I played college lacrosse. So just like, you know, going to schools in Georgia whenever, or Virginia. But, yeah, but when you're doing that, you're not really like exploring, you know, it's kind of like you're just doing the drive.
Yeah.
But like you said, gems, there's so many in this country, and I just need to do a better job of hitting those in those parks, right? Like I feel like the sexiness to me of traveling is that it's like a different language and it's completely different people. I mean,
Being immersed.
Yeah, and I mean, when you go down to North Carolina or Georgia, you'll still get some of that, as we were speaking about earlier. It will definitely be a 360 or 180 or you add those together, an 860 or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's
carry the one.
Yeah. What was it? Four quarters and 11 and 4 quarters.
11 and 4 quarters.
So sometimes you go down there and you're like, wow, I can't believe I just took an hour flight and you guys are like this. And I'm like that.
Noodling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the international is just something about it, of like getting that passport out to me has always just been that drug that I needed. Like, you know, me and my brother made a pact that we would at least do 2 or 3 countries a year. And I don't get that same high when I'm going to Arizona or I'm going to LA, or, you know, not that it's
different.
It's just different. Yeah. I don't know.
Well,
but maybe I need to give it a chance.
I think you need to. I think you give it a chance, because like every 4 corners of this country is just so different, from Washington to Maine, Florida to Southern California, and they're kind of similar, but also different, you know, and just the people that are there, and there are so many different dialects here, and it's so silly. Go to Alabama, you're like, what? Yeah. What did you just what?
Crazy.
And they're just like characters of themselves just because of their accents.
Oh my goodness.
You know,
the y'alls. The y'alls.
I don't. You know what? Y'all's actually all right. You know, because it's better than like you guys, which is so singular. I think I need to take that from my vernacular. I'm always like, hey, how you guys doing? But y'all's kind of nice.
You like y'all? I mean, interesting. But you're from Montana.
That's not around.
That's not a Montana thing.
Not even at all.
Okay,
no,
stereotyping.
Big time. Yeah, I know. But like, you would think it would be. It's more like Montanans sound like almost borderline Canadian a little bit. More
okay.
So.
Love Canadians.
Yeah. Yeah, they're friendly neighbors to the north.
They are.
Yeah.
Literally every person I've met from up there has been fantastic. I can't say anything bad about them. They're just awesome.
Yeah, I've definitely met some knuckleheads from Canada. You know, it's so funny because like everyone says that, they're like, oh, every single person I met from Canada. I'm like, how many people you met from there?
Yeah, maybe not that many. And the women are always very beautiful inside and out too. I found that.
Oh my gosh!
Like every girl that I've spoken to from there, they're kind-hearted and soft, and they're also sweet. Very beautiful on the outside as well.
Sweet is in.
Yeah.
Sweet girls is in.
It is in. Being nice is cool, guys.
Way cooler.
If you're a dick, you suck.
Yeah.
It's not the way to do it.
I gotta be honest. I used to like kind of like girls that were like mean, kind of. I was like, oh, maybe they're just like unobtainable. And
the chase.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Meh.
Insert your Larry David.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, no. Actually, we spent some time up in Canada when we were younger. We went to the Canadian Nationals, which is a motocross series up there.
Dope.
And my younger brother actually won Canadian National Championship. And he won by so far that they actually protested him. He's like 9. He's like a 9-year-old kid. They're protesting him. The parents are yelling. It was so aggressive. They paid all this money to have them strip his bike down, like just to see if he was cheating.
Wow.
And it's like a 9-year-old. He's kind of like shook, like, well, what's going on? Like, mom, dad, like, why is everyone so mad? And like, I won. You know, I won.
He's the Barry Bonds. He's doing steroids on his bike.
We were giving a little roids.
Yeah.
In his Capri Sun.
That's what messed up with your elbow now.
Yeah, exactly. I'm having flare-ups.
In the Capri Sun, we put a little in the Dunkaroos patch.
Just a little nip.
A little extra in the fruit roll up there.
But yeah, I just remember that. I was like, Canadians going off up here. Like, they weren't being nice. That Canadian friendly neighbor, they were on a different vibe in that moment. Like they were ramping, like, oh, you guys come up from America, and he just smoked everybody. And
love that.
They tore him down. They're like, no, he's within like the thing. I remember the guy at the end was just like threw the money down. He's like so mad. I was like, are we back in Montana? Or what's going on?
Little Karate Kid, Cobra Kai, Daniel LaRusso. I think that was what it was. classic, just like questioning Mr. Miyagi over here.
Yeah, for
Don't
sure.
question him.
Yeah, no, it was.
Don't question the bike. It works.
Yeah, no,
he's 9.
Yeah, he's 9, and we're all friends here. At least we should be. Family sports, they're great.
We think so. We think so. My dad coached me growing up, so same thing. We always used to, father and son get into it. I mean, at the end of the day, another, like you said, best friend and family type, but they're tough. Coaching and working together, or, I don't know, family and friends.
It's a dance.
It's a dance. I think you just start to see people's real colors when their money and their choices get involved. It's like where things just start getting a little gray sometimes. But if you can fight through that and be a person, it works. So I'll let you know how me and my brother do after a while. We did Hawaii together. I mean, we travel a lot together, but I remember in Hawaii there was a few moments where we were driving and he was just getting pissed off at me, and I think I hot soup, and I hit like and I grabbed the wheel and like went off the road for like a quick second just to let him know, like, don't mess with me. Like, you always had those moments with your brother, though. Yeah. But I was like, that was
got that crazy look in your eye.
Yeah. Like, what'd you do? And just like half go off the road. He's like, you're actually out of your mind. I'm like, totally. Let's fight right now. Then,
Yep. I'll pull this shit over right now.
Exactly. Yep. Exactly. And it's all over like where we want to hit lunch or something. But I don't know. We'll see where the show goes. That was also years ago, so hopefully we've matured by now.
Dude, honestly, some of the best friends that I have, I've like had a fight with. Like I've met like an older artist out here who's like, household name. I won't even mention his name, but if he hears this, he'll know who he is. And we had like an altercation at the gallery, which is like, I've never had so many altercations, and like even in moto, dude. Like I swear, in the art world, it is so hilarious. People's egos are like to the moon. But anyway, he like messed up one of my paintings. Like it actually caused like damage to it. And so I was just like, hey, like, can someone just give me the real story and like whatever? And he comes in like super mad and was very aggressive about it and very not. He ended up apologizing afterwards. But I was like, yo, what the heck? Like, and we kind of like had this exchange. I was like, look at yourself. Is this like how you want to like look to the younger audience and like the younger artists acting like the worst? I'm like, I just let him hang himself. I was just like, dude, okay, look at you go. You're doing the most.
Right.
And he was. Yeah. And, so then afterwards he was like, yeah, no, you're actually kind of right. And like, we shook hands, and now it's like, then he invited me to do an art show, and it was great. I actually got good exposure out of it. And, it was just funny. Cause like, then like once we like really sat down and started talking, he's just like, you know what? I really like you. And I'm like, yeah, dude, I really love you.
It's funny
dude.
how that works.
Yeah. It's
when
funny.
People can actually, sit down and listen for a second and see how much we have in common.
Yeah. It was silly. It's like, hey, come on. We're both, pushing art.
Yeah.
What are we doing?
We're
here?
both doing this. Why are we wasting time?
Yeah.
Just on September 11th, yesterday, I just saw a quote, and it's nothing fancy at all, so don't get too excited. But just, it was something along the lines of like, life's short. Like what? Like there's literally zero time for hate. Mm-hmm. And not to get so deep, and my voice sounds extra.
Hey, let's just slow down a little bit here.
So take your time in life. No, but seriously, the dramatic stuff. I mean, I'm always a person that tries to pick up the phone first and call people, and I don't know, people just deal with stuff, in different waves of they need time or they need to think it over or talk to somebody. I'm like, let's just call me. We'll figure this out. What is it?
Yeah.
That, I did that because of this and that. And sometimes you say too much or you say, the wrong thing, but it's like you still get through it and like, let's move on and grow, whether it's a friend or you have an issue with, somebody that's new in your life. I'd rather just always communicate about it. I mean, that's what we're supposed to talk. We're humans. Like, let's communicate and move forward. But
yeah, it's like, doing the uncomfortable thing.
Yeah.
Do that first uncomfortable conversation, because it's not easy. Like sometimes it's like, it's just easier to be like, maybe I'll just not have it. But it is always better to do it. It seems. Yeah. It always seems to be. Battle it out.
What else? What else? Then you just let this like hate linger on you.
It's not awesome.
That feels terrible.
Yeah, I've had that.
Yeah, and then it stays with you for a while and messes. When it's with you, it messes with everything. Like every decision you're making that day. Totally. And like sleeping and.
That's why it's really hard for me to understand people with this like delete culture. To be like, oh, I'll just block them, or I'll just do this, or it's so bizarre to me, like the psyche behind that, because you think you're just blocking somebody and it's doing you better. But in reality, you're definitely thinking about that person. And half the people that are blocking somebody, they got some creepy ass ghost account that they're snooping around on you anyway.
Right.
You know, and I've seen that so many times. And
Yeah.
I don't know, that to me is a little wackadoo, but yeah, I don't know. Anyway, we've helped enough people, I think. I think
just communicate to your loved ones.
Yeah, just communicate, just talk it out.
Call
everybody.
Brett if you have issues.
We got a phone line that you guys can tap into. Just hit the link below and we'll be right with you. But dude, so I was looking at your Instagram and I saw that you went to Peru.
Yeah.
And Peru is a place that I've been interested to go to. Tell me about your travels. Like, what was that like? Why did you go there?
Mm-hmm.
That sort of thing.
It was a last minute book. Me and my brother had a little bit of time off. He's very reserved in his decision making. And I was like, dude, let's just do Machu Picchu. Let's start off 2020 right. And there's so many other things I would love to do in Peru, but just with getting back to the city for work and stuff, we didn't have too much time. But
right.
He had a little more free time than I did, so he flew down. He did Lima by himself for about, I don't know, whatever, 4 or 5 days, and then I flew in after, and we did Lima for a day, and then we flew to Cusco, and through Instagram, I actually connected with a company, and they were hooking us up with like some free hikes and some meals and stuff. So that was always fun, getting those types of perks, especially when you're in like a foreign country and trying to ball on a budget.
Yeah.
But my brother, since he funny story, since he is used to traveling and living the hostel life, he always kind of, even though we were on vacation for whatever, like 12 days, he always kind of books us in these low-key spots. So like we get there, we're like barely on any sleep. We know we have to be up the next morning at 4 a.m. to do Rainbow Mountain. And there's just like a girl in the hallway, like pressing like a baby pressing like a squeaky noise, like the whole night. And we got like no sleep. There was no hot water. But that's all part of the experience. Anyway, we went up to the hike. We immediately got altitude sickness because we didn't adjust accordingly. And yeah, we like took 30 steps and then we both just like kind of sat down and just fell asleep next to llamas for like 3 hours.
No way.
It was like a quick 1.5, 2 hour hike. We just couldn't do it. Like every time we both stood up, the mountains were doing like that cartoon thing where they come and go and things were shaking.
No way.
So that day was kind of a wash. And then we did the 5-day Inca Trail, and that was just everything you could want. No showering, just had some porters. These guys, they're like 4 foot. They're carrying the tent, the pots and pans, the food, the utensils, the cups, all the ingredients for hot chocolate, for popcorn, pillows, sleeping bags, everything. And there's only like 5 or 6 of them, and then the chef. And they're half our size, and they're wearing like flip-flops. Meanwhile, we're like old Converse that are like bootleg brands, and they're running through these mountains in this trail.
And do you have stuff on you too?
Yeah, we had a light bag just for, like little snacks or waters and stuff like that. But I definitely brought the wrong bag because it was just, after carrying it for so long, it started to hurt my back, and me and my brother were like switching off. And as lazy as we are, we actually asked the porters if we could throw it in their bags. They had room, and we tipped them like whatever extra 30, because when they put the bag on their shoulders, it goes up. It goes all the way up. And we were just struggling getting up to I think the total hike was 30 miles, and then I think you reach 15,000 feet of altitude.
Mm-hmm. And this is 5 days long.
5 days long.
Is it just treacherous trail getting up there?
Yeah, and we were there in the wet season too. It wasn't that bad. But the best part about it is, obviously getting to just like meet the other people that you're with, getting to do all those forest things that you never really get to do, especially living in New York City, like having to go to the bathroom in the forest and figure that out. That was an experience. The meals were actually delicious, which blew my mind that these guys had delicious food in their bag the whole time. And,
well, spices are big there too.
Yeah, spices were big. But they weren't bringing, we had Peruvian food, but they kept it kind of American too, and just to fit the tourists. But that wasn't the best part. But when we did have Peruvian food, it was delicious. But the best part about the hike was there's some spots in the trail that everyone's on their way to Machu Picchu, but there's some other beautiful spots, and I would botch the name, so I'm not even going to try it. But and there's nobody there.
Right.
Because, you know, we're midway on the trail, and you can only get to these spots if you do the Inca Trail itself. Machu Picchu has the train, it has the bus, you can get there, it's a tourist site. But the other spots that are, you know, and the other 6 people that we're with, and we're just fully immersed in this castle that is just living on top of a mountain 12,000 feet up in, you know, the sky. And yeah, definitely having some of those crazy out of body experiences of just like sitting there and looking down, and waterfalls everywhere you look, and you know, you do that thing where you close your eyes and you see where yourself is on the map. If you were like, you know, look at that map when you were in your 3rd grade class of Mrs. Sosa's whatever.
This is where I'm at.
You're like, wow, I'm here right now, 12,000 feet up.
Phones or no phones?
No phones.
Did you hit that? Did you hit that moment when you're so disconnected that you're almost nervous to go back to your phone?
Oh yeah, always. Oh, whenever I return to New York City, I always feel a sense of like anxiety and questioning.
Like, should I turn it back on?
Right. Should I turn it back on, and should I be here in New York City? Just, I mean, don't get me wrong. It's the capital of the world in my eyes, but I don't know. There's something just. One time I came back from Greece, and my brother and I, we just had such an amazing trip with such genuine people inside and out. They really follow the old school Testament rules of like loving your neighbor, and you know, and we felt that inside and out everywhere we turned and looked, and like came back to the city. And as soon as we landed, you know, you got that harsh New York City foot traffic, the street traffic, and all that. And I was just like, and it was a little bit of a depression for a few weeks of just coming back to, you know, New York City. Yeah. Coming back to it. But traveling is everything to me, man. I think it if you don't travel, like you can't grow. You got to take those chances and meet those people and try the foods and do all those uncomfortable things, which I'm sure you've done. And what's your best out of America experience?
I don't know. I mean, I don't have a ton of, you know, out of America experiences that were the best. I mean, I've done some cool stuff in London, which I know isn't like geographically like a cool thing, but it was based around race cars. So that was awesome. But, you know, some cool things in Mexico. But, you know, my gauge of cool is like, you know, I kind of almost like getting into situations sometimes. Like those are like some of the moments that stick out in my head. Getting mugged in Mexico, and, you know, having to give federales a bunch of money, and, you know, it's just silly things happening, you know, like having a gun held in your face will really change your attitude.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, so that's
were
not
you
fun.
If you don't mind me asking, were you out looking for these things?
No.
Like, or it just happened?
We were just merely traveling, and they
Holy
just
shit.
ended up stopping us, and they just happened to be, it seemed like they were kind of amped up on something. Didn't seem like they were a standard issue.
Wow.
It seemed like something else was going on, and we ended up just like giving them all our money, and we're just like, dude, Jesus, that was hefty.
Damn, sorry that happened, bro. That's
I'm not. I mean,
Really?
it definitely sober you up a little bit getting in that situation like that. You know, you think you're tough until something like that happens, and all of a sudden your life's really out of your hands, and, you know, you're at another person's mercy, and in a squeeze of a trigger, you're like, wow, that's not nothing.
Yeah.
You know, so everything that's happened to me, I don't regret at all. Like, I think all the bad stuff that's happened to me, like, I'm finally at a place now in life when all of a sudden something, like, if something's coming uncorked, I'm like, yes, there's a lesson coming for some. And I know it sounds so nuts, but I'm like, I literally get like that now. I'm like, at first I'll kind of like have like a knee jerk where I'm like, damn, dude, like this is like a thing that's going on. But then I'm like, wait a second, whoa. I'm going to learn something here.
Right.
I'm about to like get a little bit of like a lesson. So yeah, no, I mean, even being hurt, things that happen, it's just, you know, everything's a lesson. And I think that we didn't know that before. We used to always everyone, I think, used to be like very victimized, even much more than before. And now we're kind of realizing like, oh, the world kind of gives us lessons when maybe we're ready for it. And it never feels like you're ready for it. You're like, why now?
Yeah.
This isn't the time. Like, and it's like, there's just never any accidents. And it's just all about how you kind of deal with it.
Are you a things happen for a reason guy?
I mean, I don't die on any island of anything, to be honest. Like, yes, it seems like things really happen for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
I do think that, but I don't know if it's from some deity or some sort of, you know, sky daddy, as some would say. You know,
I've never heard that one.
That's a total ripoff of Joe Rogan, actually, but I think it is so funny to say.
I'm not. Everyone talks about Joe, but I haven't really watched Joe.
I think you'd really like him.
Yeah,
honestly. Yeah.
I've seen a couple like random things that he says on like highlights, and, you know, you shouldn't judge the book by its cover, but like a few things that he says, I'm like,
yeah, and
I don't think I can.
I feel you.
But the majority is, I'm sure, is solid.
He's a curious person.
Yeah.
He's a curious guy. And that's, I mean, similar. I mean, that's kind of like what inspired me to like want to do podcasting. Even I wanted to do this so long ago. I wanted to do this like 5, 6, 7 years ago, honestly. Yeah. But I never really just like, I never felt like I had a reason. Like, why me? Why would I do it? I'm not like a guy that does a podcast, and nobody really is. That's what's kind of like cool about it. But no, like for the most part, he's just a curious person, and he's having conversations with people that he thinks is interesting. And yeah, maybe we don't think that, maybe not all of us think that all of his guests are interesting, and maybe we think he's giving guests platforms that shouldn't get platforms and things like that. But also he is kind of a meathead, and that's kind of what I love about the guy. He is a meathead, but he's super curious, and he's like very genuine and empathetic. He's not just like some guy that's like forcing his opinions. He's really just trying to like explore what things are. And so likewise, like I just have so many interesting conversations, and just even like when I first met you today, I was like, all right, this guy, you have substance. You're not like just a dude. Like, and not that there's anything wrong with just being a dude at all. I would love to talk to just a dude, you know, but like, you know, you're curious about life. You're going to these other countries because there's something else. It's like, our ideas really aren't our own. Like, so whatever it is, it's telling you to go experience the world and share your stories. And then somehow us as advanced monkeys, we created these microphones and these things and these headphones, and then we can put them out to each other and we can share stories. But that's what it used to be like when you like come to a town, you would share your stories of the next town that you were just at. And it's so evolved. And now we're just telling stories of where we've been. And I think it's helpful. Yeah. And I like to hear, you know, about strife and people like having failures too. You know, people have oftentimes like equated, like someone wrote me recently, like, oh, everything you do just turns to gold. And I'm like, dude, that's so wrong. I'm like, I fail at everything. I'm always failing. Like literally I'm always failing at something. And if I'm not failing at something, I don't really feel comfortable. So I pick up a lot of hobbies because I'm like, oh, I like to do stuff that I kind of suck at. And I don't know. I think there's just like something interesting with like just having these conversations and recording them. Mm-hmm. I think there is value in it. Yeah. You know,
it's a moment in time for sure. Yeah. I don't know why this stuck out, but when you just said it about like people traveling and you know, they just came from the next town over. Even my buddy said yesterday that we had, you know, met these girls through another girl, and it was just like that's how it used to be. Like, hey, I want you to meet so and so. You know, totally. there was no other way besides just an interaction in a public space or a bump in or a referral. Yeah. And to see how much the game has changed from all aspects, it was refreshing for a moment to be like, how else have things changed, and how else can I go back and maybe not do things in 2020? Is there a way I could connect back to 1960 or whatever, 1950?
1999.
Yeah.
1999, we used to call a girl on the phone. Like, you meet a girl now, you ever call her? You call them?
Maybe
you gotta read the room.
Yeah. You gotta feel the situation out, but it's usually, I'd say the majority always start with the text, right? Mm-hmm. Like but there's sometimes you're just like, I'm just going to call this chick. Yeah. Like maybe that's one in every like 10 or so, but even the text, what the text has done to everybody.
Oh, and it's so easy to misinterpret.
Misinterpret the communication and the emails, and you know, just one letter off, one emoji off, one thing off.
And what did you say to me?
Dude, it messes your whole day up, or messes your whole 15 minutes or 20 minutes of that energy that you just had of figuring out how is this person saying this to me? Or how do I respond to this? Again, that's why I'm a phone call or like, come, let's talk about it in person. Because, and I've been dealing with too much of that recently. Yeah. I think I keep talking about it because it's heavy on me right now. Yeah. Just communication with some people. And for sure, I need to do better on my part. And, you know, I think they need to do better on their part. But it definitely just weighs on you. And it just becomes a burden of like, dude or chick or whoever you're speaking to. Like, I don't want bad things for you. You don't want bad things for me. Let's communicate.
Let's just communicate. Yeah. No, I think that's so heavy. And like one of the things I feel like has really changed the game is FaceTime, you know, and staying connected. It is really interesting how like we are kind of exploring the idea of whether, you know, cell phones are even healthy for us right now. But it's really kind of like our first form of like telepathy or our first like of being like interconnected. I mean, right now I can log in and look at somebody from Hong Kong and what kind of day they're having. And if I have a friend in Australia, they're posting, I'm kind of keeping up with their life, and we are really so connected. It's really our own behavioral patterns that make us have a bad relationship with the phone and Instagram and what have you, because whether we're jealous or whatever we are. And so, but I just have noticed that, the phone call, I remember like being young, like having like a girl that I was, crazy about, and just talking on the phone for hours and just remember those days.
You roll over, it's like 2:57.
You're like, I don't even care.
I don't care. I'm gonna be exhausted tomorrow for you.
Yeah. And,
yeah.
And I think that there's something kind of beautiful in that. And so even like now this, I do the call.
I like that.
Just to see like, hey, what's up? And if they're like, no, I only text, I'm like,
yeah,
you're not really being open. But it's tough to just rule that out because people aren't being open for a reason. People are getting done dirty all the time on every realm. It's really, it sucks.
Yeah,
but
a lot of hurt people.
Yeah, and hurt people, as they say, And so, but yeah, the call, FaceTime, it's funny. Like I'll be like talking to my mom. She's got her phone like up to her face. Hello, hi. I'm like, you're so funny.
The dating scene, if we're going to talk about dating for a sec, I will say that I feel like FaceTime has changed the game, especially in COVID, because now you can see a chick's vibe from just FaceTime. And
for sure. That's kind of where I was going with it.
Yeah. And like, not to say that it would always be a waste of time to go meet up with a girl, but sometimes, if it is a drive or if it's like Hamptons to the city or whatever, and like you started out with just FaceTime and, just seeing if there's that energy there and if it's worth it, or if it's just like, wow, we're definitely on different pages. Mm-hmm. So I feel like that has been progress in the dating world for just meeting chicks and being like, yeah, I would actually want to give you my in-person time and drive an hour or 2 hours to see you rather than.
So adding another dynamic of like,
it's like a first step.
It is.
I mean, it's a wall you gotta break down.
Yeah. It's like it's so funny you say that actually. So I'm like just thinking about like different things I've had. Like I've literally met people via FaceTime and just like, during COVID times, it was like so funny. People really obviously don't want to like be meeting up. We're not supposed to be meeting up or like hanging out. So, and I was talking to a couple of friends that like, had gotten into kind of like pseudo relationships at the beginning of quarantine. And then day 40 in, like we were talking before, it's like, we got to go our separate ways, or whatever it may be. And so it sucks. But I was talking to like one friend of mine. He's just like, dude, this girl's got to go. Like, I'm like, and then I talk to her. She comes up. She's like, I got to get out of here. Do you know where her room is? I'm like, dude, you guys are both using me as the bridge of like, I got to get out. But that was so common. Therapist. That's the next episode, actually. I got a couple coming on I'm working with.
Do you have a therapist coming on? Is that what you're doing?
No, I'm kidding.
Love a good therapist.
Oh yeah, a little therapy session.
We all use our friends and our family and
they're roommates full of bad advice.
They're full of bad advice.
Full of bad advice every time.
But we're searching for it.
Yeah.
Dude, I mean, like I was here and then she said this and like, what do you think? And
fuck her.
Yeah.
No, fuck him. Yeah. I never really liked him anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Therapy helps. Therapy definitely helps. Whether it's just to talk it out and the lady or man has a calm voice, or to actually get some knowledge. I've had to try to convince some of my friends recently that I think there's this stigma around therapy that if you get it, you're failing. You're failing and you're mentally like off.
Yeah.
That's not the case at all. Like,
no.
You're just asking for some help. And we all need to ask for help and no one knows the answer. So just talk it through with somebody who's actually studied this professionally. Like same way you wouldn't, I wouldn't get on a motorcycle without just talking to somebody that's done it before or watching a video on it, like inform yourself of what this can do for you. So that bothers me at times because mental health is definitely a thing now for sure.
Such a big combo right now.
It's such a big combo, and I'm sure, and I'm glad it is. And these things are rising because it probably wasn't a combo in 1999 as much.
Yeah,
but it's a serious thing. It's a very, very serious thing. And I think anybody that's like, oh, it's stupid. It's like, no, you can relate to it because you've had that one day where you were extremely off.
Yeah.
So imagine that being a constant state of mind. So don't do that. So.
Yeah, we'll cherry pick 99. We're gonna take everything.
Yeah, it was a good year in 99. What happened? Knicks went to the finals.
Damn.
New York Knicks went to the finals, lost to the San Antonio Spurs. 4-1. And Alan Houston, who actually lives in Sag Harbor, he lives 2 houses away from me.
Oh, okay.
Just found out like a few months ago. He's on that team. So funny enough.
That's actually hilarious.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, let's go back to traveling a little bit. What would you say your like craziest travel story is? Like, you come to town, you come to the new town, and you meet me, and you've told the other stories that are what have you. What's like a crazy story situation that you think?
Wow, so many,
stands out?
so many come to mind. I mean, automatically like the thrill.
Yeah, I think thrill.
Yeah, thrill. I gotta say. I mean, I did skydiving out here. That was crazy. But
Wait, Long Island skydiving?
Yeah.
So when did you do that?
Probably about 3 years ago.
Okay, interesting. Because a kid that used to live in this room right next to here, he's the videographer. His name's Timmy.
Really?
Legendary kid. I love him to death.
Wow. So every day he was waking up, driving there, jumping out of a plane?
So bizarre living with somebody like that. Because I would go to work and do my thing,
Yeah.
and I'd come home, and I would be so happy to see his car in the driveway. I would be like, literally, I would make it a point every day. I'd be like, dude, I'm so glad you're here. And
Right.
it was so bizarre to see someone get up for work every day and just go jump out of the sky with a sheet. It's nuts. And for me, I mean, skydiving was my biggest fear, honestly.
Did you do it?
Yeah, I've done it 3 times.
Oh, wow. Awesome.
I love it. And now my younger brother is really pressing for us to go get skydiving
licensed.
certified.
Dope.
Yeah, it is. It seems dope.
All 3 jumps have been out here or different places?
I think they've all been out here.
Nice.
Is that right? Yeah, I believe so. It's so good.
Yeah, it's dope. It's like
so
Montauk on one side, you could see the city on the other.
It's so good.
It's amazing.
And there's nothing like you want to talk about having issues being present.
Yeah.
Dude,
did you, like after you did it, what, like for your next like 2 to 3 weeks, were you just in touch with yourself and more alive than ever?
Super calm.
Super calm.
It calmed me down like a lot. I was like, as soon as we landed, I was like,
I was
like, what?
I had an energy about me that I wish I could have every single day.
Yeah.
I was getting up early, attacking the day. My vision was clear. My head was clear. I was like, maybe I should
go again.
Yeah. Is there
should
some?
we go again?
I'm down to go again. Is there some therapy in it? Like, I don't know.
In everything.
There has to be some.
Riding a bike down the street is therapy.
Yeah.
Slowing down, smelling the flowers. Honestly.
Yeah. It was Hawaii. If we're going to go back to the thrilling thing, we swam with sharks.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
No cage. No, just
to swim with sharks? Like, was it to go observe the sharks?
Yeah, just like we went on the boat. It was me, my brother, and like 2 other dudes and a chick. So it was like 5 of us, and then 2 trainers. And as soon as the boat stopped, there was like 20 fins surrounding the boat. They put out the little radar thing, and it absorbed. So it was like a sonar thing, and the sharks love it because it's like massaging their gills or whatever.
Oh, that's what it is.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know.
So they put out little electric waves so
it's
that
not
they
even
come.
food.
No, they didn't drop the food.
That's crazy.
And then they lowered it a little bit lower under the boat so that we could stay on the surface.
Who the hell figured that out? Shark massage?
Shark massage.
That's insane. I would have never.
Sounds dope. I kind of want to hit a spa and get one.
Yeah, for sure. If that was like a thing on Jeopardy, I would have failed that question. 1000%.
What is shark massage?
Yeah.
But crazy experience. Just getting in water, seeing the fins all around. No cage, just they put a rope in the water, and you went hands in the armpits, and you just had to do the 360 and fins, no life vest or whatever, just because if you really needed to swim. And anytime a shark got too close, the trainers would usually give them like a love tap on their tail. But we were just told to, like stay as calm as you can and treat them as like if you're another predator in the water, and if they look at you, like you look them back in the eye, because they're not here, according to the trainers. They get this completely bad rep as of Hollywood, and they're not here to hurt you. You just got to let them know you're also swimming here and go about your day. And that's what happened. And I guess they're doing that tour every day, and things are fine. So, and then the dope part was a humpback in the distance, like and then just saw, I was like Finding Nemo for a second. I just like froze and came out of the water, and you saw it was like, that's the stuff in Hawaii that is just, there's energy in Hawaii that kind of compares to skydiving. Like as soon as you touch feet on land there, you're like, whoa, I get why you guys are doing this.
For
Like
sure.
I'm feeling this in my lungs. I'm feeling it in my body right now. Like there's a special energy there. It totally makes sense.
Yeah, and that's probably why people are very protective of it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because the locals really don't love people coming through.
No, they don't. There's actually one island.
What island were you on?
We did Oahu and Kauai.
Okay.
There's one island that they don't let anybody go to, and it's just the Hawaiians from 1999. they just stay on the island the whole time. And they don't let anybody. It's just all traditional, no electricity, and would love to take a trip there someday.
Yeah.
And bring a camera crew and film a doc about it.
For sure.
But I don't know if that would ever happen.
Yeah, my brother did the Kalau Trail in Kauai.
The Kala Trail.
The Kalau.
The Kalau Trail.
Kalau.
Which island is this on?
On Kauai.
Okay.
Yeah, and so it's like you like hike.
Oh, is this
You hike like right next to like on the cliff basically,
and like where the crate. I think it's the background of my phone. My phone's charging in the other.
It's like that like really cool little like Pirates Cove.
Yeah, I know exactly
with
what
the
you're
cliff,
talking
the
about.
sandy beach. So that's what they call A camp apparently, and he tells an amazing story. I honestly should have a podcast with him telling the story, but they hiked in and. I have to tell this like little blurb real quick because talking about like travels and small world, small story, like just funny little things that happen. He'd been telling me about once he came back from Kauai, he just would not shut up about it. Like he was just like, you should have been there. He went for like I think 21 days sleeping in a hammock only.
Love that.
They slept in a hammock only, like raining, filling up, dumping their hammocks out. They literally like
tied up hammocks on the beach.
Yep, on that beach. Wow. And they live there. Like there's some like local kind of like transient people that live there. And they all just kind of barter. Like they give them tobacco. They're like, all right, well, you guys can use some of our pots and pans to cook tonight. And they ended up like setting up like a snare, and they had caught a pig. And so they went. He's like, hey, well, can we come with you to like go, get the pig? And so he said running bare. They were in shoes, but the guys that were local there were just running barefoot, and they're just running on this trail. He said they're running up on this big peaked out, like spine. Now there's like spines of like earth there, and because the topography there is very bizarre. And so they're running on the top of this thing. He said it was super sketchy. And my brother's very versatile with sketchy things. He said it was super sketchy just trying to keep up with the guys. And they're running and they get to the pig and it's snared. And the guy pulls out a crossbow and shoots it. They harvest the pig. They take it back in 5-gallon buckets and they cook up this pig. And he's been telling me this story. And I'm like, wow. That's insane. That's such a crazy, rugged, raw thing to experience. And he kept talking about this guy named Sal and this like kid that he knew. And he brought him all this fruit back from the forest. And I'd actually FaceTime this kid Sal at one point, like while they're all together. So then fast forward, a couple years, my best friend got hit by a bicycle. He gets killed. And it was actually so shitty.
Sorry, man.
Yeah, it was not awesome. But we all flew into Arizona to go to his funeral. And his brother, who's one of my best friends, David and my ex at the time, my brother, we were all like, hey, let's go up to Sedona and just kind of like instead of like sitting around with like everyone, and let's go up to Sedona and kind of like do like a send off and just get out in the desert. We'll go rent a Jeep. We'll go get some hammocks. And, we went to a Bass Pro Shop. We bought hammocks and sleeping bags. We got all the wrong shit. And we drove up to Sedona and we went and rented a Jeep. And while we're in the Jeep, I was like, what, it'd be nice to kind of have like a little, ceremonial J of some sort that we could, send him off with. And so we're driving on the road and I like see these two kids walking. One kid's wearing a poncho. One kid's wearing these like ripped up jeans. And I'm like, let me swing in real quick. And hey guys, what's going on? Like, how you guys doing? We get to talking. And they're like, no, like, hey man, like, no, but peace, brother. Like, whatever. I'm like, oh, okay. I'm like, what? And my brother's like, dude, open the door. What? I'm like, what? I'm like, dude, no, it's all good. Like, we're just going to go. He's like, no, open the door. So I unlock the door. He gets out. He starts hugging one of the kids. And I'm like, I'm like, what's going on? I'm like, this is bizarre. I'm like, okay. He's like, this is Soul. No. This is the kid I was telling you about from Kauai.
Oh my goodness.
We randomly see him. Like, what is that?
Wow.
What is that?
That is weird.
And this kid is homeless. He doesn't live anywhere.
Wow. What?
He doesn't live anywhere. He said he used to live in Kauai. He lived at that base camp. And then what was crazy, while they're at the base camp, Chance said they were, which is my brother's name is Chance. He said that, they're sitting there chilling one morning, and all of a sudden these helicopters just do that super aggressive move. They all of a sudden they're just on them, and they land the helicopters. They come out with the guns. They like surround the whole place, and all of a sudden all the locals just start fleeing up into the hills and running away.
Wow.
So my brother's like, yeah, what's going on? Like, this seems pretty intense. And they're like, you guys have your camping permits? And he's like, yeah, actually we do. And he's like, well, we have like a lot of like illegal activity has been going on around here. These guys have like had stolen a jet ski and they were giving people rides out to base camp. So like they'd say, oh, $100, we'll give you a ride out there. You don't have to walk the trail. We'll give you and so my brother had actually done the ride one time, and he said that they actually had taken a jet ski out over through the surf with his pack on. Like that's like how they got back one time. He said it was so terrifying. He's like on this shitty like spray painted jet ski. It's like a full pirate mission, just getting back to like the main section, like where everyone travels from. And anyway, so we saw this kid in Sedona. It was just
so cool.
It was so,
I love that.
It was so bizarre. I don't know why.
And then so from there, you guys went. So he came with, or
no, he didn't come with.
Pulled up.
No, it was just like, peace, dude. It's so good. Like, got a picture of them together.
I was gonna say quick pic
for the gram, and and then they were on their way. It was so bizarre. And then we went and we, spent the next few hours looking for trees to put hammocks up in the desert because that wasn't a factor that I thought of.
Wow, amazing story. First of all, but you did bring something up. I went to Cuba with one of my best friends a few years ago, and I'll keep it short, but. When we got to the house in Viñales, which is the like main tobacco region west of Havana, it's about a 2.5, 3 hour drive to get there. And when we got to the house, these people were amazing. It's a little farm. They have, the ox doing the farm thing.
Yeah.
That's not my world. They had the baby pigs. They had like 2 big ones.
Yeah.
Little chickens, and they're like, we have a ceremony, like on Saturday or whatever. You guys should come. And we're like, yeah. When we get there to the ceremony on Saturday, we've had a night. So the night before, we went like dancing in the main square. It's like one of those old small towns. Everyone's just smoking and like the live Latin music. Everyone's drunk and just dancing, doing different dance moves, spinning and. I mean, I just think when dance is part of people's cultures, It's not. I feel like the dance in our culture has faded. Like people don't go to the clubs to like dance anymore. You have to find those certain spots in like New York or out here or wherever to really dance. But anyway, I'm getting off the story. But we came back, long day. We were at this tobacco farm, and they had this like honey rum, and the lady was like, only take like one drink, one shot, like every like 20, 30 minutes. And the guy that owns the house, what's his name? I know his wife's name was Lebes, but I can't remember the father's name. But anyway, he's like, it's time for the ceremony, my friends. Like, come. So we all take one of those shots, and now he's bringing up the pig. And his brother, it starts pouring rain. His brother is sharpening the knife.
Damn.
And he hands it straight to me. I'm like, I don't know what you guys are expecting. I can't do this. Like, I rip another shot, and I'm already lit off these like 2. Like, you're only supposed to, 20, 30 minute increments. And I'm already gone. And my boy is like, I think he swung back like 5 or 6 at this point. He's like, fuck it, I'll do it. And he grabbed the knife, and they showed him how to do it. But in their culture, it's like a blessing.
There's a respect thing.
There's a respect thing, that we like all had a great moment together. We said a nice little prayer, but he stabbed this pig. They took him like Undertaker. They flew the pig on his back. They stabbed him in the heart. Whoa. And there's little family members like all around, but this is so normal. Like there's like 4 and 5-year-olds running around, but this is it. The 6-year-olds are pushing the blood down to the river, into the stream. Yeah. And this thing is squealing, man. I have a video of it, and I can never watch it when people ask to see it. I've done it like once. Yeah. It still kills me. But the pig was delicious. I've never had anything so yummy, and it was out of this world. But that moment of my boy stabbing this 100-pound thing just...
You'll never forget that.
Never forget that. Like some kids from the suburbs, just like a small place in Cuba. Just
that's crazy that he bit the bullet though.
He did. And now I think he has like not like regrets about it, but he's always just like I can't even like talk about it. Like
Yeah.
he doesn't want to go there. Same
Yeah,
way
yeah.
I kind of don't want to go there. But we have the video proof and we have the trip together, and
Yeah.
it's
And the mental log for sure.
Yeah, it's one of those moments that we'll hold on to forever. If you want, I'll show you the video after. But
yeah, I mean, it's definitely a ceremonial thing. I mean,
yeah.
I definitely don't love things dying, and
Yeah.
but I mean, I've been around it enough to know. But you know, that was probably paying more respect, like, you know, to the meal that you guys were procuring, you know,
Yeah.
in that moment.
And that's how the human race has done it the whole time. You know, like way back in the day, past 1999, they were killing animals. There were so many animals on this planet.
Yeah.
They were killing them and cooking them.
Yeah.
They weren't eating vegetables like until later dates because they couldn't just grab the raspberries and the blueberries from the trees and this and that.
Well, there wasn't always raspberries on the trees.
There wasn't always raspberries and stuff on the trees, and they were getting sick a lot of the time because they didn't really know what to be eating. So they were seeing their sisters and brothers dying or getting sick or throwing up in front of them. They're like, let's just stick to killing this deer and making a fire.
Yeah.
Or not.
You hear about the Native Americans. I mean, it's just, they were such ruthless people in so many regards. I actually grew up on a reservation when I first went to Montana. It was the Salish Kootenai Nation.
Dope.
And yeah, you know, just like learning about their ways. Even they were like a very peaceful tribe, like a fish bearing tribe, like, you know, live close to the water. But you know, you hear about neighboring tribes, and you know, hearing about like just the natives' ways, like how things were. You know, we've been conquering and doing things forever. That's like what the humans are. We're just constantly conquering each other.
Yeah.
You know, we like to think of, you know, back in the plains days of everyone just, you know, trading necklaces and hides, but you know, you had to get that hide somehow, and that hide was your blanket, and it was your house, and you know, it was many things. So yeah, I think that's interesting. So can people still go to Cuba?
Not now.
Not now, right?
Because COVID.
Oh, but I mean,
pre-COVID, there was some weird regulations.
I thought they were shutting it back down again or something.
Yeah, I think you're on the money with that. I don't know exactly, just because I got in and got out, but then I did hear that it kind of got weird again.
Yeah.
But shouldn't be the case. We shouldn't be having weird. They're like a neighbor. They're so close. And you just think about the Cuban population of Miami too. Like,
that's so heavy.
It's so heavy.
Yeah.
I don't know. They're neighbors, and I don't know. Like I said, there's no time for hate.
Yeah, I know.
Come on, guys.
Yeah.
Come on, government.
Yeah, come on, everyone.
Come on, everybody.
So, you know, I guess it's kind of interesting talking about some of that stuff, and then also, you know, being in the limelight a little bit. You know, and being in that Hollywood scene, being in like the content creation scene, and kind of procuring reality a little bit. How's that been for you? You know, because like it's like we kind of go on these endeavors, to kind of get away and to kind of get back in touch with what we know as reality. How's that been, like, you know, being back in that, like managing those two spaces essentially? And does that make sense?
Of going after like Hollywood dreams and comparing like real life and travel all together.
Yeah, like as far as like, you know, being back in the limelight of things, like coming back and then
kind of the coming back moment. And okay. Yeah. I mean, I think like what we spoke about earlier, sometimes you're like, this just doesn't feel right. Like I just came from being with and having meals with the nicest people ever. And now I'm kind of in this like cutthroat industry where you have to be used to hearing the word no. Yeah, so there's definitely a lot of times I think, just like everybody, where you're like, why am I doing this? And you know, New York is just a grind, man.
Mm-hmm.
New York City is such a grind, such a tough place. It's like, why am I doing this? But at the same time, you're doing it in the greatest city in the world because you want to be the best in the world. You want to, you know, continue to grow in those opportunities. And for me, it's those times that you do get a bite of like that beautiful sandwich or that piece of steak, and you get that high, or you jump out of that plane. Like once you get those moments of this industry of working, it's just, it's so special to your growth and to something that you've been working on. And, you know, like when I first got the gig at Yankee Stadium and I was on the microphone, I remember like 3 games in, I was just like waiting for the shot to happen. I had like the camera around and just like the lights guy,
yeah, the whole thing.
the lights guy, and just like all this was happening, and I like turned back and like the shot was hitting me dead on, but then the screen was gonna be behind my back. I was like, I'm about to just be projected to like 40,000 people right now, and just entertain these folks and get them ready for the second half of soccer, and those moments where you're just like, this is awesome. And this is why you do it in the grind of New York. But don't get me wrong, there's a ton of times where I question, like, is New York the place for me?
Right.
I'd rather be on a baby blue island and eating fresh fruit and like working out and doing those outdoor activities, and even just the lifestyle of New York City. It's so trapped and caged in high up in the luxury high rise.
Yeah.
And like, even your gym is in your building. Like there's days where you never even leave your building. And that was what was amazing out here, what we were talking about earlier, just getting back outside and running around and taking your shoes off and doing what we're supposed to do, and having, the sun out all year.
Yeah.
Is something that I would really love for another stage of my life, hopefully soon, where it can just, there's, I like the seasons, but I think I've had enough of them for now, where I would be okay with
one season.
Yeah, with us hitting, one season, us hitting the bikes or us jumping to the ocean. And I've been doing a bunch of that on the laptop, cranking out. And then at the end of the day, like 5 o'clock, me and my buddy grabbing you ever play Kadima on the beach? It's like tennis, but it's like the Israeli sport. And we've just been like going back and forth on the beach and like working up a sweat and ending it with like a 6 o'clock ocean jump, and like getting dinner after. And it's like, what better way? Like I'm so alive right now. Like I sweat. I had a work day. I jumped in the ocean. I saw dolphins a few times. Like, why am I going back to the city?
That's living.
Yeah.
No, that's totally living.
But the industry is extremely tough if we're talking about acting. We spoke about it earlier. Everyone's trying to run through the same door. It's the sexiest thing ever. It's the hottest thing ever. The money, the Hollywood Hills, all of this. But I think I like it because there's no ceiling, and you can keep going. If you're a PE teacher or you're, whatever, in a line of work, you're gonna hit a ceiling, and you're gonna be banging on that ceiling at some point. With this, you never know what could happen. I mean, it's here we are today making dope memories, and I've been flown out to LA to shoot movies and upstate New York. So just the opportunities are endless, and I continue to meet awesome people. So that's why you stay in it, and the high, like we were talking, or like I was saying earlier, just of creating when you're able to take that idea and really bring it to life, whether it's a 30-second comedy video or a Broadway script, hopefully on the Broadway stage soon. Once those things actually get brought, like, what are you going to do? Just not try it? I was having this conversation with my buddies the other day. Like, if you don't try it, imagine that weight that is going to sit with you forever.
For sure.
Forever. It's never going to go away. So just do it and fail. I mean, Jim Carrey has this, not do it and fail, do it. And if you fail, you fail. Jim Carrey has this commencement speech that I think everybody should watch.
I saw it.
And you saw it, right? Yeah. He talks about his father.
Yeah.
And how he did his whole life. He wanted to be a comedian, and Jim was like, he was way funnier than me.
Yeah.
He did his whole life of accountant or something and failed.
Yeah.
So if you're going to fail at something that you don't want to do, you might as well try you might as well fail at something that you love.
Yeah, totally.
So yes and no, and we're always our worst enemies. And like you were saying earlier, I could be doing more, I could be doing this. I'm there with you. I'm always like, am I doing enough to get to where I want to go to? But we're trying and we're pushing forward, and it's an exciting industry. And it's just, and just acting in general. If you learn the fundamentals of acting, I trained as a Meisner actor. People would be much better people. All the things we were talking about before, really listening, really taking in what somebody has to say, really making eye contact, really working off their energy, all these things, which I actually think you've done an amazing job of. Even from when I first met you, like, you're very, very present, which I think is awesome.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
And I mean, with me, I check out at times too, but I think we'd be a better human race if everyone did the Meisner technique and studied for like a year or two, because you learn so much about yourself and learn, how to just be there for others and take in others as well. So I think acting could go a long way for mankind.
Yeah, I think the same. I think it's got an interesting rap to people. No, I mean, I like how you like kind of like preface it all that, because it's, you've been on sets, you've done things, you've got your daily that you do now of, what your life is. You've done the things at the stadiums. Um, what's like, you've obviously met some people,
Yeah.
some probably people that people would be stoked to meet.
Yeah.
What's one that stands out in your mind, and or somebody that
Good question. I mean, from the awesome opportunities of my job in the entertainment world, I've definitely worked with some of the biggest names, whether it's a quick interaction of the Michael Jordans of, going over a business plan, whether it's, talking to Beyonce about, if she doesn't mind being shot from a certain angle and if she's okay with her children being in the shot. So those moments are always just, there's only a few people that have like really shook me up. Beyonce had a glow about her and an energy that you felt her down the hallway where the whole room just froze. Yeah. Everyone was like sat back we were in the back of an arena, and she walked down and everyone's backs just kind of like stuck to the wall because we didn't know how to act. That was the first time I met her, and then I met her a few other times, but she's always been super, super sweet every time I work with her. I have to simmer on that one of come back to it of like of a moment where it completely sat with me. I mean, there's so many times where I think these guys, whether they're NBA players, whether they're actors or actresses, they just like realness because they're so used to being asked for something, an autograph, a photo. And I always tell people you can't judge celebrities by one interaction when you meet them, because some of their days are crazy. I mean, we have bad days all the time. You could have met them on that bad day and they could have just, whatever. They did a shoot in the morning and they got an Uber and sat in traffic and then maybe had to fly to LA to get back. And then you just saw them. So they just did a commercial shoot in the morning, which shoots are draining. Like if they're not short and quick and precise, they can be draining.
Which
especially
they never are.
They never are. Ours was actually great today, but
that was the quickest ever.
Yeah, but it's usually always
we didn't even have a premise.
No, yeah, we'll see how it comes out. Emily hopefully
it's
does
all
her
on
thing.
now.
It's probably not that funny, actually.
That's fine,
but
and that is totally fine. It's funny to somebody.
I think once Emily got in it with her water scene, it's like when it wasn't funny anymore. Just kidding, you did great.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just tell people never to judge them because, commercial shoot into a long day to Uber, and then they just came off the plane, and then you're like, hey, and you're all up in their personal space. Totally. Everybody thinks they know you because they've seen you somewhere. It's just a lot to be like, can I get a picture? And you're right in their joint. So when you're just more real about it and less asky and just more like, hey, how are you doing? Which is how we should be with everybody.
Yeah.
I think you get the best of them, but I'll come back to that one. There's definitely a few stories that aren't coming to mind.
Yeah, I'm sure. I know I draw blanks like that too. I mean, but as far as like what you want to be doing, you want to be shooting movies, you want to shoot comedies.
Who doesn't?
Yeah.
Who doesn't?
Is that like, I mean, obviously you guys have the Broadway thing coming up, which I think is awesome.
Yeah.
Is there any movie stuff you're working on?
Not right now. A movie that I shot just came out end of August. It's called DieRy.
What's it on?
It's on Amazon. It's on Google Play. It's on Vimeo. It's on YouTube and Apple TV.
DieRy.
DieRy. DIERY. It's kind of, speaking of 2020, it's kind of like that modern day thriller of Instagram and a chick, losing her mind and someone stealing her diary, and she does some crazy things in it. So yeah, I flew out to LA and shot that movie for a few days. That was a lot of fun. I mean, anytime you're on set, it's just a blessing because the industry is extremely tough.
Yeah, totally.
So that's always fun. But no, I mean, the focus right now, definitely this Broadway show, to get it where it needs to go. And I'll have to send you the trailer after this. We have a 10-minute snippet. But it's a straight comedy, and the premises is there's this guy in the startup, and he comes and he wants to be all the things that we all want. He wants to be the cool guy at work. he wants to have the pretty girl, but nothing's working for him.
Right.
Christmas party comes, he fucks it up with a pretty girl, and he heads to the streets of New York City, kicks a rock or a can, whatever you say. And he's just like, oh man, like, why is life so tough? And this guy comes out of the street and he's like, hey there, buddy. Like, why do you seem so down? He's like, oh, I can't get anything right in my startup company. I just keep messing it up. He's like, well, have you heard about our new software that we can install into your phone? It's called Augmented Neural Upgraded Systems. He's like, Augmented Neural Upgraded Systems? Anus? He's like, yes, it's Anus. Why don't I install it into your phone and you could fiddle around with it a little bit? Now he gets Anus on his phone, the software of Anus, and all the things that he's looking up to become or searching to become, the TED Talk guy, the fitness guru, all these things that you want to be successful. Worker in New York City, they start to come alive and they start to come into his world and speak to him and help him get the girl and help him get this. And, so it's just a ride, and we're still tightening up the second act, where it could all come together. And, it's just a special project. My brother's done a lot of great things with it. So it's really his baby. I'm just kind of coming in and producing and bringing some talent and, hopefully a lot of money to it and getting it to where it needs to go.
Are you actually acting within the show?
So my brother and I have spoken about it. It's just, if we're going to take it to Broadway, you gotta have pipes.
Yeah.
And like, I can sing. I've done a little bit of off Broadway stuff, and I can hold a chorus note. But these guys have pipes, and they could break down. These guys and these girls, they can shut down a room.
Their power.
Yeah, it goes all the way to the last seat in the house, and that's what you need. So
I didn't even think about that aspect. You got to really be,
dude. The Broadway actors and actresses, they don't get what they deserve. They really don't. They're doing 8 shows a week.
Yeah, that's a lot.
They have the same thing, 8 shows a week, right? Like you go on a Hollywood set, and it's
then
like
you got to just out there and just pronounce it every single time,
all the time. You go on a Hollywood set, and you shoot it from different angles, and you might have to do it several times. But once you're done with that day of shooting, it's over, and you can cut and retake, right? Cut and retake. Like what we were doing today. We didn't like the way we looked in this one, or the jump was weak, whatever. On Broadway, you're living, breathing, and dying with that character. If I come out and I didn't like that moment that I just had, I have to recover you as the audience to keep you on my side, keep you believed in me and invested in my character. And especially when these guys have long dialogues, like I just don't know. I don't know how they do it. I mean, I look up to, I saw Adam Driver recently do Burn This. I saw Jake Gyllenhaal do a long monologue piece, and like we're talking like an hour monologue of him just on stage and doing the same thing every night and running back and forth, and the complexity to his voice. Just the Broadway thing is so different, and I give them so much credit, more credit than the Hollywood actors for sure. Doesn't mean that they're bad actors. No, it's just a different game, and that's when you know they're the best. If you can do it on both stages, you're the fucking GOAT. Yeah, for sure. No, I think that's totally right. And I mean, imagine you're having a fight with your significant other or whatever it is, and then you got to go out there and just bring that heat. I mean, there's a famous story. I'm gonna forget the actors, but my acting coach always used to say that, obviously acting is experiencing in a truthful way. And there was one Broadway scene where the guy came out on stage and scared the woman, and they're having like a marriage fight, and she was more emotional than she's ever been that night. It might have even been in rehearsal. And after, he was like, listen, I'm so sorry. Like after brought it too real. Yeah, he was like, I didn't. And she was like, what are you saying? That was everything I could want as an actress. She felt all these emotions as what you should be feeling. You're taking them personally, and you're really responding to those, right? Like when you get the text, it's really just how you're responding in that moment. Like you're just using the text to say how you feel, and in that exact moment. If my line is "I love you," that "I love you" could be in so many different ways, and that's what the great stage actors do. Is every night it should be different. Yeah, because you're not going to be the same coming to work every day. You could have gotten splashed by a puddle in New York City, or gotten a fight with your ex, whatever, and like you might be off your game. You might be bringing it more so when you're, different nights, and you have to just be able to work off that person and use the text to say how you feel and bringing the best out of both of you. So I could talk about acting forever. It's just so amazing. Again, I think everyone should take a Meisner class and they'll thank me for it.
Yeah.
And it just makes us all better. But yeah, anytime you want to go to the theater, let me know because I love it.
Dude, I will be hitting you up on that.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think we'll have plenty of activities to do, you and I, because
yeah, for sure.
It's been really epic, like meeting you, just because it's, we do come from somewhat different worlds, but there's always commonality,
For sure.
in the creative space, especially, and just, dealing with different creatives. And as far as like collaborating is such a big thing now. Everyone's kind of collaborating together and doing different things. That's why I was not expecting to shoot a skit today.
Yeah.
I had no idea that was, but I was like, you know what? Yeah. Let's shoot a skit.
Yeah.
Let's shoot a damn skit. And
that's the best part. We both didn't know what today was, and Emily was nice enough to introduce us, and I'm so happy we did because you're good people, amazing people, great people, and I've been having fun since the second I got here. So.
Yeah, no, likewise. I've been since you got here. It's cool because this is, somewhat long platform. I don't know how long we're going. We're probably getting close, but no, dude, it's awesome to meet people in different genres and we all have so much to kind of teach each other. But yeah, dude, we should do this again.
I'm down. Yeah. I said, got a homie coming out.
Yeah,
I think he'd be perfect for this.
Cool.
Really good guy, and I'm down to just come myself too as well. So
yeah, no, let's definitely do this again, man. So people can find you on Instagram.
Yep,
at Troy Press.
Yep.
What other platforms? Anything else you want to plug real quick?
I'm not that big on anything else. I'd say Instagram is my main baby. Yeah, TikTok is the same thing at Troy Press. I'll be trying to post some more stuff on TikTok and YouTube. It's at Troy Press as well. I think it's /Troy Press. Right before COVID, I had kind of been like you. I've been delaying this project for the longest time. That's something I can touch on for a minute. I've been delaying this project for the longest time. And I finally got it going and had one of the best rugby players in the world come on the first episode. And it's kind of like a late night show, kind of feel just asking the person some questions. And then there's some fun rules. Anytime music comes on, you have to get up and, just hit a dance move. We did the fruit roll up challenge. I bought a mini hoop and we play horse, but we just play 3 letters.
Yeah.
And we do a nursery rhymes beat where I'd hand them a book of a children's book and then play a trap music of Future or Drake or something.
That's
and
actually hilarious.
You have to read 3 baby lambs went to bed, you're reading it to the beat. And just had these ideas. I've been sitting on it forever.
Yeah.
So I love hearing inspiring stories like yourself. You're I just need to start doing this.
Yeah.
So I started doing it and we filmed our first episode and I was so excited about it. I knew exactly where I wanted to fix and yeah. And then.
So is that available? Is there an episode out?
No, I'm holding everything until we can. I only filmed 1 episode, but we had a long list of celebs ready to come in, and then COVID happened. So everything's just. I don't want to do the whole IG live stream thing. It's not my style. This is way more my style.
Yeah.
So yeah, that hopefully when 2021 happens, we'll repick that up. It's called Full Court Press. Wait,
have I seen this somewhere? It's not on anything.
No, unless someone stole my name.
No, I don't think so. I thought it just sounds familiar.
Maybe.
I hate to be bearer of bad news. I don't think it's anything.
Oh boy.
I don't think it's
drink
anything.
The rest of this water.
Pretend I didn't say that. No, it does sound familiar, but not on that.
We could switch to Hot Off the Press. Maybe we could change the name, but
yeah, you got options.
Yeah,
you got options.
But I think
and potentially Broadway coming out in the spring. Or at least having some more.
Yeah, we're gonna act 2 for sure. We'll get on its feet by the latest this spring. So when we do that, it'll probably be a smaller viewing though, to probably about another 50 or 60 people, and then we'll combine Act 1 and Act 2 with a smaller budget behind it, but keep it bland and film it in a blank studio and small props. If you need a desk and a laptop, you get a desk and a laptop. But small things like that, so that when we are investing and we start, pitching this to people, it opens up their minds. It doesn't look like, rinky dinky, they had this theater and it's so dark and this, if you watch a lot of the workshops of Broadway, they keep it in big, wide open spaces.
Right.
So it's like, let the acting and the script do the work.
Yeah.
And, you can only imagine where this can go once we bring it to a stage and we get that next level
Right.
of, I like to say, FU money of, this is when we really need the bread to get the stage and the rehearsals and like a few names behind the show. But I think I'm super excited about it. I got to keep pushing my brother Garrett. We got to get going. But I think it's going to be the next step for both of us. Like, it just makes sense in so many ways about his life, what he's done. He's worked in startups his whole life and written comedy and done comedy in the city. And so have I. And our parents, when we grew up, like, you rode bikes. For us, it was like every other Sunday they were taking us to the theater. They just loved the theater. And now it's like full circle. But I was running around the house singing Lion King and, and Mary Poppins and all this stuff. But I'm excited starting up the musical. If you want to follow that Instagram page, I think it's starting up the musical. And my brother's, it's also there, just Garrett Press, and he has some links there, but we'll get some more juice pumping from that soon.
Cool. Yeah, definitely let us know next time you come back what that's all about.
Yeah, thank you, man.
No, dude. Well, awesome to meet you.
Yes.
I think we'll wrap it up.
Yes.
All right, brother.
Yeah, I appreciate the time, man.
Yeah, man.
It's been awesome. This whole day has been awesome.
Awesome, dude. Well, thank
Yeah.
you again.